Today, I will tell you 3 terrifying real stories. So sit tight in your chair.
Story 1. The Feathered Guardian. Around the age of 50, my dad got an African gray parrot. He had always been passionate about parrots, so I was happy for him to fulfill that wish after he retired. The bird was named Cody. My dad taught Cody a vast vocabulary and trained him to truly understand the meaning of certain words like, hello, what's up? My father passed away at 70, and with that, the time came for my siblings and I to decide what would happen to Cody. My brother and sister didn't want the responsibility of taking Cody into their homes, but I couldn't accept the idea of giving him away to a new home. Cody was one of my last connections to my dad. In a way, he was his best friend. I decided I would take him into my home. I put his cage in the den of my house. My house doesn't have a basement, so the den is considered the lowest level of the residence. Cody is a moderately noisy bird. He can be a chatterbox during certain hours of the day, but at the end of the day, he calms down. When he's too restless, I'll throw a blanket over his cage, and that usually quiets him down. I would watch TV in the den at night to keep him company, and around 10 p.m., I'd move to my room to let him sleep. I've been taking care of him for 2 years now, so I know exactly how he acts and when he's behaving strangely. Speaking of strange behavior, there was one night in December, around 11 p.m., that Cody started making noises while I was trying to sleep. I sleep with my bedroom door open, since I live alone and need to be able to hear if anything is happening in the house. Hearing him making his squawks after dark, especially so late at night, was undoubtedly unusual, and something was bothering him. I went to the den to see what was bothering him. He was wide awake on the lower perch of the 2 in the cage. He looked at me and was saying things like, hello, and his own name. All the while, he was nodding his head up and down, moving his whole body in the process, as if he were dancing. I tried to feed him, but he didn't eat, so I covered him with the blanket. I was in the kitchen when I stopped, because he was still making the noises, and I had a feeling he wasn't going to stop. Since I had to work the next day, I couldn't afford to lose sleep because of him. I really didn't know what to do. To this day, I'm not exactly a bird expert. I went back downstairs and uncovered him. He was still doing his little dance, bobbing his head and body. It didn't click for me until I thought I heard something in the pantry, a few feet from his cage. I walked over to it and hovered my hand over the pantry's light switch, which was on the outside of the door. When I flipped the light switch, I saw the outline of a body on the inside. My fight or flight response kicked in, and I chose fight. I threw the door open, screaming, trying to get the adrenaline flowing, and I grabbed the man in the pantry, pulling him out and throwing him to the floor. He tried to fight back, but I easily overpowered him and held him in what I'd describe as a chokehold. He was a man in his 50s, with the appearance of a homeless person. I yelled at him, "Who are you?" He tried to grab my face to possibly gouge my eyes or something, but I continued to wring his neck and punch him. During all of this, Cody was going berserk in his cage. When the man on the floor seemed weak enough, I literally sprinted to the nearest phone, came back, and kept him on the ground while I called 911. The man was taken to jail, but he had no ID, nothing. He was homeless and had nothing to his name. He had raided my pantry that night and had opened jars of peanut butter and all sorts of other boxed and canned foods. If it weren't for my dad's parrot, I don't know what else that man would have taken or done in my house. I'm grateful for Cody, and I like to think that a part of my dad is watching over me through that bird. Story 2. The Voice Upstairs. This story takes place when I was a junior in high school. Back then, I was a pretty involved student. I took all the hard classes and was on a few varsity sports teams. I was always busy and didn't have much time for myself, and part of me was grateful for that. It provided me an escape from a world where my parents had recently separated and my older brother had just gone off to college. It was just me and my little brother, Liam. He was also a swimmer and a smart kid in his own right. We were really similar, even to this day. but probably because of the stress our family situation put on us at the time. We didn't get along, not at all. On one of those damp Midwest winter days, I had spent the day at school and swimming practice, and I still had to sit down for several hours of homework. This time, I had to write an essay for some advanced class I wasn't very interested in. I dropped my swim bag at the door when I got home and looked around the house to see if anyone was there. Empty. Dad must be with Liam at swim practice. His club team had the pool time after the high school team was done. I ate a handful of Cheez-Its and headed down to the basement, to my office to get some schoolwork done. The house was a middle-class, two-story home with an unfinished basement. My dad used to work from home, but not anymore. I was the only one who used the place, so my family, or what was left of it, just called it Ethan's office. So, I crossed the concrete floors and the loose carpet pieces to the only finished room in the basement. I flicked on the CFL light. It was like any other night after practice. I still had hours of homework to do. I turned on the computer and started typing. I was typing for what felt like an hour, trying to put into words what the concept of hedonism in The Picture of Dorian Gray meant to me as best as I could, or as convincingly as I could. From the dark, I heard my little brother call out to me, "Ethan, Ethan, come up." Almost reflexively, I replied, "Liam, I'm working." "What do you need?" We would yell through the house like brothers do, but it took me a moment to realize that I hadn't heard him come home. I got no response, but only for a couple of minutes. Again, I heard my little brother's voice sing-song, "Ethan, come up." It felt strange to hear those words spread across the dark concrete floor. He was supposed to be at swim practice. I called out to him again, asking if he needed anything, but again, I received no answer. I thought about just starting my essay again, but the family situation was delicate at best, and I didn't want to get in trouble if my little brother actually needed something. I made the decision to get up. I bounded up the basement stairs, the only way a teenager can, and called for my brother again. "Liam, what's up? I'm really busy." I checked the entire main floor, looking for my little brother. No shoes, no backpack, so he wasn't home, and there was no car in the driveway either. The only reason my dad would be out now would be to pick him up. Satisfied, I turned back to the stairs when I heard my little brother's voice call out, "Ethan, come up." This time, every hair on my body stood on end. It just didn't make sense. He had to be at practice, and if he really needed me, he would have come to me. I went to the base of the second floor stairs and called out to him one more time, "Liam, what's going on? Are you okay?" For a minute, no answer. "Liam, I'm really busy. Can you tell me what's up?" It was quiet for way too long as I stared up the dark staircase. Logically, I had no reason to believe anyone was up there until I heard Liam's voice speak calmly this time, and not in a sing-song way. Those same 4 words. "Ethan, Ethan, come up." "What?" I asked under my breath. I couldn't comprehend the situation. I did a quick inventory of any probable scenario. A break-in, wrong voice, a prank. I would have seen something by now. It had to be Liam. And maybe helping him would make me a good brother. So I started up the stairs. My heart was pounding with each step, and I was about to reach the dark second-floor landing. Then I heard the buzz of the garage door motor. I ran back down the stairs and looked out the window. It was my father's sedan, and he and my little brother got out. I stumbled from the window to the hallway where they would enter, and I felt my heart almost stop beating. I collapsed on the floor and started to cry uncontrollably. Story 3. The Silent Walkie-Talkie. This was about 15 years ago, when I was a kid. I was with my best friend Leo at some kind of abandoned family resort or bungalow colony in New York. It was off a main road and then down a private dirt path driveway, and it was a pretty large property with several old abandoned buildings, including at least 10 small bungalows, a main hall, a few bathroom stations, and an indoor pool house. Along with that, there was an outdoor pool, a shuffleboard area, and a kid's playground. Everything was old, run down, and with tall, overgrown grass growing over it. We found this place by accident once, walking down Route 209, but we didn't explore it that day. We came back another night. By the time we went, it was past sunset. It was getting very dark, but we didn't want to come during the day for fear of being caught and charged with trespassing. We brought walkie-talkies and flashlights with us to communicate when we split up. We started looking around the bungalows together. Most of them looked the same and were relatively small, 1 or 2 beds each, a small kitchen, and 1 bathroom each. Some of them had small living room areas. Halfway through exploring these bungalows, I split off from Leo because he was moving a bit slow. I tried to enter the building that looked like the main hall or office or something, but all the entrances were locked. I walkie-talkied Leo to tell him the big building was locked. He didn't answer. I wondered if I was out of range from where he was. 2 minutes later, I found myself at one of the 2 bathroom buildings. It was probably a 400 square foot building. There were no doors on the building though. It was unusual. It just had 2 large openings, one for the men's room and one for the women's. I remember the signs were faded and worn looking. Then I saw these red marks on the dirty old concrete bathroom floor. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say they looked like bloody footprints, but I couldn't explain what these red marks could be then, and I still can't say for sure now. Anyway, it was pitch black inside that bathroom around the corner, and that was the first building I was scared to enter. I tried walkie-talking to Leo again, hoping he was in range this time. I pressed the button on the radio and said, "Hey, where are you?" When I let go, I heard the beep that the receiving radio makes after getting a message coming from inside the bathroom. It nearly gave me a heart attack. Then I thought Leo must already be in there, hence the red-looking footprints. I called his name, and it echoed in the bathroom. I was about to step into the bathroom, thinking he was hiding from me, pranking me, when I heard Leo's voice call out from a distance, behind me, outside in the darkness of the night. I heard him getting closer. I couldn't see him in the dark, but he obviously saw my light. So I yelled back, "I found your walkie-talkie!" I started to step into the bathroom, but then he replied, "Don't go in there." I never went in there. That's when I turned around and hurried right out of there. I pressed and released the talk button really quick on my walkie, causing the beep to sound again from inside that pitch-black women's room. Leo and I looked at each other for half a second, then started dashing in the direction we came from. We made it back to Route 209 and had to stop to catch our breath. That's when Leo told me that inside one of the bungalows he went into, he tried to walkie-talkie me, but I wasn't answering. But then he heard a noise from the living area of the bungalow. When he turned around, his flashlight revealed an older woman almost running towards him. He dropped his walkie-talkie and flashlight and ran out of the bungalow. He ran in the dark and hid, avoiding making noise for fear of being followed. He hid for a questionable amount of time before looking around and seeing my flashlight across the field near the bathrooms. The most likely explanation to me was that some drug addict was hiding or living in that abandoned bungalow and, for whatever reason, lunged at Leo and picked up his walkie-talkie. What she was doing in that bathroom, who knows? Maybe the bathroom in the bungalow didn't work, but what I don't know is why there was a trail of what looked like blood in there. Those are my theories, but I can't explain it all away. And that's the scariest part.
What do you think of these stories? Follow us and witness the paranormal every day.